And by the way, I need a Kirby in my life that's eating. You can see that Kirby's eating the hollow of my brain, because the more dumber you are, the more happy you are. You don't need so much information processing and making you overwhelmed. So yeah, this Kirby is going to be pretty handy for myself doing a 3D script today. So let's get on the Alright, y'all. I've been not necessarily procrastinating. I've been trying to find the time to be able to do this, because I have to do a little bit of revision on how to do this again. And we already got our Arduino IDE running well, and we got our cable here. So today's episode is going to connect this entire circuit to its Arduino IDE with a few firmware codes, which I'm going to show you and explain, and I'm going to show you how they play an impact with the sensors. I hope they are fine after how I constructed them, but they should be fine. And connect them. I'm going to connect the circuit with the cable. You're going to see me do the coding, and yeah, let's get to it. But mind you, some explanations I may do a voiceover to explain how does a particular coding work and how does it play an impact or affect my circuit to make the sensors respond in some way, like to check if the sensors are responding. And first the first step that we're going to do is we're going to implement a code that verifies that all my sensors are working. And I'm going to show you how you can make sure that all your FSR sensors are working. So first we need to do the verification that these FSR sensors are working. If they're not working, then I'm going to scream my lungs out. Anyway, after we do the verification and I'm satisfied that all my FSR sensors are working, we're going to implement the second code, in which this code is going to be integrated into the IDE and is going to connect into my game software Stepmania, so that the circuit is connected to the game, and then it's just a matter of finishing the external part of the dance pad and boom, have a dance pad. So let's get to it. So like I said, the first step that we're going to do is that I'm going to implement the FSR INO test. That firmware coding is the verification for my FSR sensors, that are they actually responding, and I'm going to explain them via voice note on how you can make sure with that code to ensure yourself that your sensors are working the way they are supposed to. So let's dive a little deeper on what the FSR INO test plays its function inside the Leonardo PCB. As stated previously, many times actually lol. The FSR test is a firmware code used to verify if all your FSR sensors are responding a signal on active sensitivity when they are exposed to contact, such as the FSR being pressed, as you can see on this video demonstrated. So, here is how the code operates. Once you upload and run this code, it will return a loop displaying all the 4 pins, in which are the 4 pin ports from A0 to A3, so basically A0, A1, A2, and A3. That's all my FSR sensors are connected inside the Arduino Leonardo PCB. This code has an algorithm where it stores all the 4 pin ports from A0 to A3 inside an array in code, so that this code can receive signals and information on sensitivity from the FSRs when they are in contact. And each line of code is assigned to one sensor, so basically one FSR each per pin port. This algorithmic loop segment here collects the measured value that is being executed from these FSR sensors when they are in contact, depending on how much pressure is being applied on these sensors. For all these sensors, the rule is that if all these sensors are not in contact, in each of their assigned line of code connected to each FSR sensor, they must return a value of 0 by default, to indicate that no active sensitivity should be responded without the presence on these sensors being in contact.
If this code returns an integer on one line of code out of the 4 code lines, when one assigned FSR sensor relates to that particular line of code, and that FSR is in contact, that is a verification that your FSR sensor is working perfectly well. The harder you press and apply pressure to that FSR, the higher the integer value will increase, and vice versa on this concept when you press the FSR lightly.
Like if your FSR is untouched, then your values will read 0. But then now, if I touch my FSR, okay, let me do this, ne? Okay, I'm going to touch one of my FSRs, and then you're going to see the values increase, right? So, I'm going to touch one. Okay, I'm already touching one right now. You can see it's reading around the 600s, 604s, and the harder I press, it reads 700 and stuff. But now if I let it go, it decreases. Yeah. Now if I do it to my second FSR, it does the same thing. I hit it, I press harder, and then go, press it, yeah, press it lightly, yeah.
However, if your FSR is not in contact and their line of code is returning an integer at the value display on output, this can be an indication that, number 1, it could be the issue that you may need to replace old components in your circuit's construction with new ones, such as maybe replacing your resistors or wires with the new same type of model. It could be dust that is the issue, in which I had to deal with that problem back in 2021 when I had built my very first dance pad.
And then find out.
Or, number 2, you need to revise the circuit's construction because you may have connected one of the components incorrectly or in the wrong ports inside the motherboard, such as your wires or your resistors and etc. In which this was the problem I had right now this 2024, as this is my second time building a dance pad, so I have to readjust and configure my circuit so that my IDE can read the code well and produce the outputs that I want, in which I'm going to explain to you on how I will resolve this issue. The thing is that if your FSR is not in contact and your line of code returns an integer when you're not touching your FSR, this is going to give an indication that your FSR is going to, let me explain it this way. It's going to treat in a way that your sensor, you know in the game that each arrow has a sensor, so one sensor is assigned to one arrow in dance games. With this problem, the sensor is going to connect to more than one arrow, so basically one FSR sensor is going to trigger more than 2 or 3 arrows, in which is something we don't want. You can see it on the clip demonstration right here on what I'm trying to say. That is why it's important when your FSR is not in contact, its value must return 0, showing that there's no activity happening with the sensitivity because there's no pressure being added. But once you press the FSR and an integer returns, and then when you let go, it returns back to 0. That means that your sensor is working perfectly well, meaning that that sensor is going to correspond to only one arrow instead of triggering all arrows or more than one arrow basically.
So let me just get to it. The code is available in GitHub. All the codes and everything, I'll put them on the descriptions below if you also want to give this a taste if you're planning to build an FSR pad. we go. It's plugged. Bingo! As you can see, my circuit is alive. It is on. Oh, I need to be careful. It's not on yet. Usually, you see the yellow lights that's over there. The yellow lights usually gives an indicator about your sensor response. But I'll deal with that later. But I think everything is fine. Okay, cool. It's on. It's connected to my laptop, as you can see. Now we go to, where's my instruction book? Okay, so we go to tools. We go to tools, and then we're gonna go to board. Yeah, more. We're using an Arduino Leonardo. So, okay. Yeah. So we must go to board, and then you go to the side, and then you pick the type of PCB that you are using for your circuit. My circuit is the Arduino Leonardo. So I have to do the Arduino Leonardo because that is the circuit. That is the PCB that I'm using. Now we go to port. We need to connect it to its port. It gives you a port already, so it's going to be COM5, and it must be connected to the PCB that you're using. So I click OK. So okay, so it's at tools. We already put port, and it's COM5. So these are the first two steps that you need to do. Okay, I already uploaded the code from GitHub. Now the next step is to, I already saved it, so let me just save it again. So now we're going to go to Sketch and upload the code. The code is uploading. Oh, done compiling. Damn, you're faster. You're faster than, wait, okay. It's still uploading. Oh shit. Oh, is that upload? It's done. Shit. It's actually faster than my old computer. This is the computer I used to connect. This is my first DIY dance pad. I'm doing the same thing again that I did. There's already one over there. Shit. Cool. So that's already uploaded. Now we go to serial. We go to serial monitor, which is at tools. We go to serial monitor. And it's supposed to, yes, it's supposed to, yes, let's go. What the fuck? There's a sensor that's active. Let me see. It's you on top of that. No, it's not. It's something else. I'll double check it. Yes, everything is at 0, but there's something wrong with this fucking sensor. But basically, it's supposed to be at 0. It's fine if there are little numbers coming. The reason why it's supposed to be at 0, because 0 gives an indication that the sensors are not being touched. The sensors are not being touched at all. It's only when you press on the sensor. Now you're gonna see. I'm gonna press on this sensor randomly, and which value is it gonna be? It doesn't give a value. Weird. Let me just check on something quickly. Okay, so with me already explaining this rule, like I said, you're supposed to have all your FSRs achieving the value of 0. One of my FSRs are at that high value. So if you have this problem, remember I said, if it's at 0, that means that the sensors are not in contact. It's only when you press them, then they will be at contact. But since there's one of the sensors that have 1900, one thing I've been doing right now is that I've been replacing these hula hoop wires with new ones. So I need to see which one of them is the sensor that's returning this value. Try and get it 0. So my advice is, if you have a sensor that is giving you a very high value and not 0, try and fiddle with your circuits. Like put new wires, or put new resistors or anything, because that may affect the situation. So I'm doing that right now. I'm just fiddling with my circuits by putting new resistors or wires, maybe just to get my sensors back on track on responding right now. So let me get to that. Okay, we'll get back to this issue. I want to be able to see this. It's not reaching to the goal where I want to. So, okay, halfway to an extent, I mean. So, from pin 0 to pin 2, all the values are 0. That's how it's supposed to be. So, this sensor, this sensor, this sensor is okay. This sensor is not okay because it's returning a value 1022 now. So meaning it's indicating that the sensitivity is active, but only sensitivity can be active if I touch my finger through it. But as I touch my finger through the sensors that are okay, it's not returning back a reading, a higher reading to indicate that as contact is being made, sensitivity is going to increase because you're making the sensors respond. So I don't know why the coding test is not working to where I want it to be, meaning there's an error somewhere in the circuit, which you've been seeing me fiddle around with my circuit, putting new components like new resistors. I even thought about putting, okay, this is my 2.2k ohm resistor and this is my 1 ohm resistor that I'm holding. So I have another resistor. So I have 1 ohm resistors, 2.2, not 1 ohm, 1k, 1000 ohm resistors, 2200 ohm resistors here. And I've been fiddling it with changing. I wanted to put the 1000 ohm here because it decreases the sensitivity. The higher you increase your resistor sensitivity, apparently it makes my sensors more sensitive, which that's what I want. But I wanted to decrease the resistor here so that I could try and make this value go as low as possible to 0, but we're not getting there. So it's somewhere around my wiring. I did replace these. I kind of need to deal with these, but that's not the issue. I did actually replace A3 because it's pin 3 that's the issue. So I replaced A3 with a purple one, and I'm still not getting the results that I want. But we'll get back to this. Let's go to the second implementation of putting a code. So this is just a testing. This code is not meant to put this code is not meant to connect to my game software. It's just to test if your sensors are working. But I'm going to put now the code to make the sensor go into my game. So then I'm basically going to do the testing in the game, and then I'll be able to see about how I can fix it.
Remember, you're working with a PCB that deals with firmware coding. So basically the codes that you put inside the PCB, it stores it permanently. So like for example, the FSR test.ino, since it's now in my Leonardo PCB, I have to now upload an empty class, or basically an empty page, that now I can reset my Leonardo PCB. I also press the reset button on my Leonardo PCB to do this procedure. I did write instructions on how you can do it. So with that said, after you have now made it clear or like uploaded a blank class into your PCB, that's when you can put another code so that the firmware is able to read that second code and run it properly.
There we go. Cool. I need to make it blank. That's the thing. I need to make the firmware blank so it doesn't read the testing coding. Now it's going to read a different coding. Now I will name you as So this is the official code that I'm going to now upload into this firmware to connect the circuit into the game. Usually becomes easier for me to figure out what is the problem with my circuits if I do it in the game compared to the other method I was doing. That's what happened to me back in 2021 when I was able to fix this issue with this pad back in the days. Now, okay, so we have the game, we have the coding of the one where we're going to connect the game to it. So now we sketch, upload. Yeah, but we didn't put it yet. Do you need to put that first before? Okay, we can actually put that now. So what are we gonna do today? Because it's an error. We need to upload the joystick. The joystick thing. I downloaded. Okay, we got the joystick download right now. Just go to sketch. Oh yeah, shit, I forgot to do that. I have to do that. But I thought we have to upload the code first before we... That's why I'm getting an error. Okay, I understand. We have to sketch, include library, add zip. Okay, but before I do that, let me just... I want to put the zip into the Arduino files. Give me a second. Okay, I got that sorted out. We now go to sketch, include library, include a zip. This is on Arduino. This is my Arduino. It's somewhere in this universe. Users. Yeah. No, that's it. Okay, it's installed now. So now we got that installed. Can you upload, please? Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. Okay. We are uploading. Cool. Setting up the device. Oh shit. Okay, now I remember all my notes. My notes are written. Okay, yes. I already did already. So okay, the game up the coding to put the circuit into the game is already uploaded. I already uploaded the zip to it for the joystick so that the circuit can be able to connect into the game. It'll be easier to check the error, what's wrong with my circuits in the game. So then okay, yes, now I remember. Now we go to I went to tools already, so you go to tools and then you go to serial monitor, then you get a blank page which is a serial monitor. At the message you must type threshold. Actually, I have an idea. Type in threshold and then click enter. Why is it not? Are we supposed to do it with capital letters? You may say threshold or threshold. I need to type in threshold. Threshold. It's not giving me values.
So just a side note to add on. What the COM port number represents in any Arduino board that you use in projects. All Arduino boards use a virtual COM port, in which that means even if your microcontroller board is connected to your computer via USB, the communication, basically the data exchange between your Arduino microcontroller and your computer, works in a traditional serial connection. Initially, when my Leonardo board was connected to my computer, its COM port number was assigned to 5. It has to stay at COM 5 in order for my laptop to keep recognizing that board so that it can keep that serial connection with my Leonardo board. However, when I had inserted the FSR INO code, so the code that connects my circuit into the game simulator, the Arduino IDE automatically changes my COM port number, in which that will bring difficulties to the serial connection with my Leonardo and my laptop. Hence, I have to manually change my board's COM port number to its first assigned one and maintain it perfectly by using the device management, which you're going to see throughout in this vlog, so that my laptop can still recognize my Leonardo board. I have the tendency to interchange words with PCB and microcontroller board when they're two completely different things. So please mind that. Sorry if I keep on interchanging them. It just happens.
Wait, Clang. I've been trying to deal with the coding. Okay, first of all, the mistakes that have been happening is that my port was initially assigned to COM 5, so it must always stay at COM 5. It was working at COM 7, in which that's going to be a problem because then it's going to bring complications to the firmware. So what I had to do to convert to COM 7 to COM 5 is that I had to go to device manager, and then I had to go to my COM, and then my Arduino Leonardo. I had to go to port settings. I had to go to advanced, and then I can change my COM port. I can change my COM port number so that I can be able to work at the exact COM that I'm doing right now. That's fine. That's one error that I have spotted that's why it's not working. Number 2. It's not threshold. It's thresholds. Now my values are coming in. Fucking hell, I haven't done this in 3 years. The last time I did this was back in 2021, guys. I'm telling you. This was back in 2021. And I had to literally read all through my DDR notes. And literally, where's my other DDR notes as well on this? I was writing notes on this back in 2021. So these are all my notes back in 2021 about connecting the circuit into my Arduino IDE. There are my notes over there. And then where are my notes? My notes are somewhere here as well. I wrote notes somewhere. Because I also wrote notes on how to reset my Arduino just in case if I make shitty mistakes. So here are all my notes if I want to reset my Arduino so I can start everything from square one. Fucking hell! This was 3 years ago. Sharp. Fine. I fixed all my mistakes. It's already connected to the game, so there's no issue. There are no readings. You can see everything is at 0. So what I'm going to do is that I want to do it one by one. So I'm going to know, so say for example, so there are 4 zeros. This is going to be your left, up, down, right, basically. But I don't know which one is up, down, left, right. I don't know which of these values are up, down, left, right. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to, let's say I'm going to put in, because 0, there's no return value. Oh, we can write it throughout like that. Oh, but we have to actually write it through the message like that. Okay, so let's say for example, I want my sensor to have the values of, let's say, what's on my DDR book? Do I have some notes? 110. Okay, we'll use 110 for example. So you do 110. 10, 0, 0, 0. And then we put enter. We say enter. It goes inside. Then I say threshold again. Thresholds again. Sharp. So one of my sensors is at 110. Is reading at 110, so it should respond. So now we're gonna go to the game. Everything goes to the game. Now I need to know which one of these sensors are going to connect. Configure. I hope this works, guys. This has been a long time because I've done this. Okay. So let's see which one is going to be my left arrow. But I will change them over time. I'm just doing this for the sake of you guys must work. One of you guys needs to have 110. Is it the sensor? No, it's not the sensor. It's not the sensor. It's the last one. None of them. Weird. But it's not flicking. There's usually an orange light that flicks, noting that their sensor's responding. Okay, so I at least got the basis where my problem is, but I'm not done solving my entire problem. Let me deal with this, and then I'll get back to you if I have solved anything. I fixed it. I know what was exactly the problem. As you can see with my ground and my 5V, ne? I replaced the one with a, actually let me replace it with a red one so it can be easier. Where's my red one? I had my red one. Where did I put it? Oh, there's my red one. Okay, so I put the red one at the negative one, which is my ground. So you're gonna see right now. Okay, I'm actually gonna replace it. I see where the problem is. And then, okay, I'm gonna put this at, you can see what I'm doing. Okay, and I'm gonna put it, it's at the positive, must be at the negative. Okay, so first ground, and then we put it at the negative port of this. Does it still respond? Yes, it does. It just needs to fix the sensors, and this sensor needs help. And yeah, it still responds. Good. So where I put the red sensor on ground, it must be at the negative port, not at the positive port on the other side. The black one, which has my 5V, must go to the positive port over here. And now, when I hit my sensors, now they're returning a yellow flick. But it says they're a bit desensitive because they're at the values of 200. This is the result that I was looking for. Fucking hell, this is hard. So now my sensors are alive. You can see, when I hit them in contact, they press yellow. But the thing is that they're at 200. 200 is too high. It's too high. The higher the number they are, the more desensitized it gets. So I need to put a number. Let's say, for example, what was my number back in the days on my first dance pad? It was 110, 109, 67, 130. So it's going to be 110, 109, 6. Well, okay, I'll just put 67. I'll just put 90. I'll put the specific numbers later when I actually play the game, because usually the lower the number would be my up arrow, but I still need to figure out which ones it will be. And then I'll put let's say 109 again. Okay, so we click enter, and then we say thresholds now, not thresholds. Danko. Now we have, these are my values that I want to customize my sensors to be. You can make them so sensitive or you can make them so desensitive just by typing the values that you want, which is very interesting. Now we go back to the game. Now I should get the results that I want. Danko. Now we go back, click enter. Let's say I want to, oh fuck. Okay, I'm gonna hit you. Thank you. Okay, so I got this one. So I got this sensor. So basically I hit it there. You see it's tapping. Then I hit this with my thumb. Oh fuck. I hit it with my thumb. it responds in a game. You see, it responds. So this is gonna be my left arrow for now. So the red and blue, the red and the brown is my left arrow. Fine. We're getting somewhere. Let's fucking go. I fixed this shit. Let's go. And then oh, I haven't done this in 3 years. Okay, we go to the right arrow. Let's say the orange and the yellow is my right arrow. I click on with my thumb. Oh shit. Okay, it works, but the thing is that I need to... Okay, let's do this actually. I know what the problem is because it's connected. Because these are the connections to my PDP. So to make it easier, I'll just do W, S, V, fuck, J, H, fuck. Now it should work properly. Thank you. No. Fuck, I didn't even hit you. They're too sensitive actually. Thank you. Next. My right arrow. Thank you. Next. We're getting somewhere. Wait. Yeah, I think I put my arrows a bit too sensitive. That's the thing. So, okay. My up arrow is going to be the black and white one. What the fuck? No, I don't know what I did. I said my right arrow was... Okay, we're fine there. And then lastly, the down arrow will be the white and the purple. It's all connected! Let's fucking go! Okay, now we save. We save to this. And then we exit. And then we test it. So you are going to be my left arrow. Oh shit. Okay, it does hit the left arrow, but it hits all at once. Okay, if you see... Okay, so the goal is that... Okay, first off, I'm happy that it can respond to the game. I'm happy that my sensor can respond to the game. I want this to happen. However, I don't want all 4 arrows to hit together. This is where the problem is. With my right arrow... Because now it's hitting everything. This is the problem I had back in 2021. So with that said, now it's going to be easier for me to find the problem. Oh, but these sensors are very sensitive. I need to decrease the sensitivity. I'll probably make it to 150. I actually need to do it to 150 to make it easier. I'm happy that it can connect. Now with this situation, I can now take my time to like replace my old... It's very sensitive. Shit. I can replace my old components with new components. I can replace them with new resistors. That could also be a problem. I didn't replace them with resistors. Maybe I can replace them. I can replace my wires to be able to be fixed. And then you'll be able to see the arrows hit 1 to 1 to 1 to 1. But I'm happy that it can at least respond to the game. That's what I want. I want my FSRs to respond to the game, in which they are responding to the game. That is good. But now I can take my time to just replace my old components with new components. Maybe it's because of dust. Dust can also be an impact to why it could be. And then I'll be able to have my arrows hit 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. I think I'm gonna make a part 2 for this. So my part 2 will be just putting new components on the circuit, and then we'll be able to have this pad on the go. But otherwise, by technicalities, all my sensors are working. Whenever I hit a sensor now, it responds to the game. And it all responds to the game through the codes that I've been implementing, and also the errors I had to fix along the way. So, Jesus Christ. I literally thought I forgot how to do this 3 years ago, bruh. I was panicking like, this is stress. This entire thing is stress. And here's my circuits, because I've been trying to take out everything to be able to fix the circuit in order for my sensors to connect to the code and then to the game. This is stress! Dude, the last time I did this was back in September 2021. And yeah, I did write a bit of notes there and there, but sometimes I want to go back to my 18-year-old self and give her a freaking clap in the head because she didn't write deep notes to help me remember how do you do this, because there are some things I've forgotten right now and then. I'm like, oh, now I remember, because now my COM has been changed. I had to fix that from the device management. It's thresholds, not threshold, so I can be able to get the 4 values to be able to customize my sensor sensitivity, and a lot of errors that I had to fix, but I didn't put it on depth on my old VBR book, so I had to like think back, what did I did back 3 years ago. But I'm happy that I can still do it. I can still build a dance pad. Can you believe that? I can still build it. It still shocks me that I can still do it. I can still do this shit. I can still do this shit. As long as my sensors are connected to the game, I'm fine. I know that when I hit the sensors, all the 4 arrows are flicking, but as long as I'm hitting a sensor and in response to the game, I'm fine. I'm fine. Now I can take my time to just replace components, because some of my components may have dust and that can impact on the sensitivity, because these sensors are freaking sensitive. And if I fix that problem, we're gonna finish building that pad, I'm telling you. I feel like this is also the reason why I've been procrastinating on this vlog, connecting my circuit into the game, because I'm like, I have to revise everything again, and it made me nervous. And I'm like, I'm done. I fixed it. Capiche, finito. You just need to fix my components, and then now I have a good circuit, and then I'm done with the software. That's practically what you need to do for the software aspect for building the FSR. Since I was busy trying to remember things and fixing things off the scene, I'm going to make a voice note on the things that I have done behind the scenes, so that you can know what was I doing, what was I fixing. Because this was not a perfect run where like, okay, I just put the code, there's no error, and boom, the game is connected. I had to fix my circuit along the way to be able to like, what the fuck is wrong with you in order to connect? Like, why are you not connecting? Like, why are your sensors not responding? Now they are responding, but they're very freaking sensitive. They are my ITG sensitivity, because yeah, but now I need to make them less sensitive so I can use work with them. And then be able to fix the problem where now the sensors are hitting 1 arrow instead of all 4 arrows at the same time. Being a dance game is stress. It's stress. Especially when it comes to dance pads. Like the only thing that stresses me as a dance gamer are dance pads. Especially building one.
Oh my god!
What the fuck now? What the fuck? But I'm happy that my sensors connect to the game. That's what I'm happy. The goal of this vlog was to make sure my sensors and the game, they touch. It's fine. Now I can work on my circuit just to make sure each sensor hits 1 arrow and not all 4 arrows. That's it. But I'll do that in part 2, because part 1 is going to be really long. And I'm just going to explain procedures what I do. This university students are stressed. You know, this is why you need a Kirby. This is why you need a Kirby. You should, actually my brother made this for me as a gift. for my 21st birthday back last year. My brother made this for me. I needed Kirby to eat my brain. I feel like Kirby was eating my brain when I was trying to think about like, how the fuck do I make this run again? But yeah, we succeeded. I'm just relieved, bro. Don't learn how to build a dance pad. It's fucking stressful. I'm joking. No, learn how to build a dance pad. You can actually save your life. You don't need to buy an SMX pad. Learn. I'm joking. Kyle Wald, I love you, but